Welcome back to the Vintage Firearms series. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Winchester's side-by-side. Probably not the one you're thinking of. That would be the Model 21. This is the Model 24. One would think it would be better. It's got a higher number. But really, it was their entry-level side-by-side. They wanted a side-by-side too. So they came out that was affordable, because the Model 21 was never what you would call an entry-level gun. Even in today's prices, this handmade gun starts at around $15,000. For that, you usually get one that's pretty well worn and has been restored several times. This, on the other hand, is the Model 24, as I have mentioned, and it was introduced in 1939 to 1940, and it was built until about 1957 or 58. And it was an entry-level shotgun from the get-go. Winchester obviously wanted a gun they could say, yeah, we have an entry-level side-by-side too. You want to get it, you want a side-by-side and you don't want to buy a Model 21, we get it. We have this one for you. But they didn't want it to compete with the Model 21 on any level. So a lot of the harsh criticism against this gun is in fact true. But does that mean that it's not a good value? I'm going to let you decide that, because I'm going to tell you what I know. I purchased this one a few years back because I wanted to know myself. I wanted to know what a Winchester Model 24 was all about. You know what's written out there. You know what's said. I'm going to tell you the truth. I think the most important thing in looking at this gun is you shouldn't be trying to compare it to the Model 21. The Model 21 was a handcrafted gun where artisans worked their entire life on perfecting and doing small details on it. But the price was accordingly. And it is today. The only difference is today, a lot of the work that you're seeing on these guns is not by the original manufacturer, but in fact, by a restorer. And I love to buy guns that aren't restored. And I certainly don't want to pay massive amounts of money if I can help it. So when I saw this for around $500, I'd say, yeah, me too, I'm in. So now let's talk about this particular gun. We know the run was from 1939, 1940 to a 1957 to 58. This is 47, so let's just say about halfway through the run. It's also a 16 gauge shotgun, which is kind of funny. It was very popular during those years. This gun was made in the 2016 and 12. So it's a double trigger. I actually like that about it. It's got a safety, as I feel that you should have on a side-by-side. I love them when they're there. I love the fact that it's even labeled as safe up, which is what one would expect. It's a nice tight gun. So let's kind of look at it. I'm going to bring it up to you and give you the real tour. As you can see, the condition is, unrestored, very nice, definitely 1947. Let's take a quick look for a moment. I'm supposed to bring these things out. Sometimes I give it some thought, and I brought out a screwdriver because that's one of the things that Winchester they weren't going to have you pull the forearm off easy on an inexpensive shotgun. So let's just see. No need to duck. Pretty good condition. And like I said, primary, oops, I got one thing and forgot another. Not going to be totally with it today, am I? So let's go ahead. Let's see what they say on it. Sometimes I like to do that last, but I'll make an exception. Made in New Haven, I always like that. 16 gauge, 2 3/4 chamber. Well, I've never seen anybody short a chamber, but 16. Let's go ahead and check them out to see. Sometimes it's kind of interesting. I see them that are a little bit over, and I'm impressed by that. Guess what? This is the first. I want to be very careful before I say anything because this is a short chamber. Now it says right on the side of it, let's get my lights out here. 2 3/4 chambers, but it's not. This is why you should always look. I'm still going to shoot it because obviously it's just, I'm going to shoot a light load through it today anyways because I don't have a great selection of 16 gauge. But yeah, no, here. Let's get you guys, see if I can show you what the chambering is. Get it in the right spot. I don't know. You know, this lighting, that's where 2 3/4 would be, and it will not go in that far. Okay, on the side of this gun, I mean, I'm shocked. A Winchester would do that? You know, after John Browning left, I mean, I know he was never officially employed by Winchester, but he certainly was connected with Winchester. They did make some great guns after he left. I believe the Model 21. I'd have to do research on that, but I think it came out in the 30s or something. If you want to correct me, feel free to do so. Okay, so I've never owned a Model 21. They're just too expensive for me. So I don't think it says on here, and at this point I certainly wouldn't believe them anyways. They don't even tell you what the choking is. You're just supposed to guess. I believe it's modified. Oh. Modified on the secondary. Cylinder bore. Okay, cylinder bore. I'm gonna get this right if I can. And it's between modified and full. That really kind of gets to me about, and I know these gauges, they do show up a little different here. You can have different gauges to say different things, but that's the very first time that I've ever seen a chamber that was shorted on that gauge. The very first time. They're never off. In fact, it's just the other day in a video I said, I checked this, but they're never off. The reason I haven't enjoy them so much is because when I'm looking at an older gun, I want to make sure it's 2 3/4. Sometimes they're not, of course. They're earlier guns. In fact, there were some Winchesters made into the middle or late 20s that I've heard that were 2 5/8 or something like that. So, okay, let's kind of recap a little bit. We've got less than 2 3/4 chambering. We've got a cylinder bore on your primary and a modified to full choke on your secondary. It's 16 gauge, double trigger. Let's pull this puppy apart. I'm sure I had it apart when I first bought it because it's like a new toy, you know, you get them. There's something, as I'm taking this apart, there's something funny about it. I remember this from the time before. It's tricky to get off, I think. This one does not want to. It's almost like they made this to be difficult. Okay, let me go see if I can get another screwdriver. That was a full-size one, and this one's already set up to be the smaller one, which is appropriate for this gun. Now it seems to me, when you pull this off, and it's been quite some time, it's tricky to get off. You gotta pull it forward or something? If I don't get this soon, I may have to just do it off camera. Yeah, this is what I remember. Okay, that one's out. Okay, there's no excuse now. Both screws are out. One made it to the floor. Yeah, it's funny when you start messing with something, you remember something about it. Someone's probably screaming on the other side there on your end saying, hey, this is what you're supposed to do to get that puppy off. But how is somebody supposed to know? I mean, it's not like I've never taken apart a shotgun before. I don't know, maybe I never did get it off. I don't want to break anything. I don't know if I'm going to bother with trying to get it off. And that's probably what happened last time. Seems to me it's going to like slide forward. That's what I'm remembering. But it just isn't worth it. So we'll just say Winchester went out of their way, or there's something wrong with this one. It's one of the two to make it difficult. But maybe that's why some of these, you know, they just weren't used that much because they were in fact difficult. And we'll talk about it. But does that make it a bad gun? I don't know. Let's go out and fire it a little bit. It hasn't been fired in quite some time, so we'll figure out what it is. Let's go outside. I'll get some 16. I'm looking at some right over there. I think I got it. And so we will go ahead and see what we think of it. As I remember it, it doesn't flow that well. Okay, so it doesn't float, as I like to say. I love a light shotgun. 16 gauge is starting to get lighter, and well, it should be anyways. And so they a 20 gauge, for instance, just floats. You just think where you want it to go, and it just goes there gracefully, you know. So let's go take this one out. It's a 16, so maybe it should be kind of floating too. We'll see. Okay, let's go outside. Okay, now for today's shooting extravaganza, we'll be using two perfectly good targets, cans, recycled. These are recycled, by the way, many times. And we'll go down there and put them on the rocks and watch them fly. We'll give it another shot out here in the sun too. Here, get this angle a little better. What do you think, huh? Pretty good old gun. I mean, I didn't do anything to it or anything to make it look better. This is as found a few years back. Okay, so we'll break it open. We'll be using 7.5 Federal. No, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm just telling you what I'm using. And, okay. So, cylinder, left side. This is a cylinder, right side, excuse me. Here we go. We're going for the left target, of course. And no problem with there. Now we're going to go for the right target. You see, notice the difference between the cylinder bore. Now it could be more than just that. But notice the difference, because I love a fixed. And this is, the second one was very close to a fixed. So when you hit it, it just has a tendency to go more. Of course, others will say that the first shot, well, one comes out. Looks like we need to use this gun a little bit more. Hang on a second. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is take this wooden cleaning rod and just knock that guy out. There you go. I'm looking for a cleaning rod that's solid and all one piece. If anybody knows who has them. So, okay, it just popped out. It's, I'm just going to give it a shot. And again, you don't have to put too much in. That's what I'm using. No, they don't sponsor me. I picked it up at O'Reilly's. Cleans, lubricate, and protects firearms. That can is about empty. And I've been using it for a long, long time. Okay, because I don't use much. Okay. First thing I want to do keep it on safe. There. So it didn't take much to fix that, did it? Oops. Not get sloppy. Perfect now. Okay. It's on safe. So we're going to run down and get those cans. Now, for those of you who might have been thinking, as I had mentioned, that the one can had more holes in it, and that's why it didn't go as far. I think it's a cylinder bore, but I don't know. Could be even the way I hit it. So now what I'm going to do, I swapped cans, but I got to tell you, lately they've been getting close to being about the same. At first, the one that was on the left, which is now on the right, was much worse condition. Now they're both really bad. So what's going, but perfectly good targets. So now we're going to take it off safe. We're going to get that first can on the left, which was the one on the right. It went pretty good. Let's try the other one. Well, could be the can. Could be the can. Could be a lot of things. But I think at least partly it's the cylinder bore. Because it's just spread out more. Need to run a snake through that now. Okay, let's go back inside. We're going to have a little fun in there. We're going to recap. I'm going to tell you what I was thinking and go from there. And the funny thing about it's kind of like a testament to it a little bit, because this gun has not been fired in a very long time. And before I got it, it had probably been years, and I don't remember doing anything to it other than the forearm having some trick to get it off. Let's go ahead and recap it all inside, okay? I'll see you there. Okay, so here we are back in. We're going to talk about a few things, of course. What is this gun? What was it meant for then? What would it be good for today? I think it's overall probably a pretty tough gun. It'd be a fantastic gun for somebody just learning about firearms. It'd be fantastic because, first of all, even if you were to do something stupid, we all can do things that are stupid. You're lost caring for the gun, what to do, what not to do. If you make a mistake, it's not going to be dreadful, you know. And so it's not like the end of the world just because, you know, you did something you shouldn't have, because the gun's only $500, and even if you damage it in some way, especially if it's only cosmetically or something like that, you're still going to end up maybe getting $300 for it. I mean, so it's not the end of the world. And but if you go out and you buy a $15,000, many times rebuilt Model 21, I'd love to have a 21. But I'd want mine to be original. Let's see what we got here. We're just running the snake through. You got to see it pretty good. Now let me look at it. Yeah, looks fine. I wouldn't want to do anything more than that. So, for what it is, it's clunky. But if you've never had a shotgun before, how would you know that it was clunky? Maybe you wouldn't. It's just really good value. That forearm, boy, I don't know. Someday I'm going to figure out the story on that. In the meantime, I'm not going to give it much investment in my time, because I really, you know, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. I would love to have seen if there was some markings underneath or something that we could look at. But yeah, you know, I'm wondering, can I see anything through here? Let me grab a nearby phone. Okay, let's see if I can see anything here. There's some kind of a little trick to getting that off, and I may not know what it is, but I know that there is one. So anyways, that's pretty much it. For inexpensive gun, it's a very traditional setup, double trigger. The safety works as one would expect on a side-by-side. Barrel release works perfect. It all looks good, feels good. And with the exception of the short chambering, which is a disappointment to me, I think Winchester could, you know, there's nothing wrong with giving a little extra room rather than a little less room. I'd like to talk a little bit about a video that I have coming up really soon, maybe even tomorrow. Probably be a tiny bit controversial, and that's not where I want to be in this channel, but I'm going to do it anyways. This is a cool old gun. And I'm going to do a solo review on this one too. This is an LC Smith with the triggers and everything. It's just beautiful. It's to die for, really. And looking good. I like the locking system in it. It's really good. But then with LC Smith, would you not expect that? Now, this gun comes from 1902, which is a transitional period. And we'll be talking a lot about that. And it's got a Damascus barrel. Okay, let's check out the barrel. I don't know how well you can see it on that video, but I'm hoping. Okay, does that mean you can never shoot contemporary ammo through it? There's one here. It's a company that, if I remember right, had a long history. I'm going to have to do a little research on it before I know. This has a good locking mechanism here as well. And nice and solid, both of them. I'm going to do a review on this one. Maybe this is the review we'll do tomorrow. I'd really like to do this review tomorrow. It's if you look at the checkering and stuff, it's had a life. You know, it's worn. See that? But yet, it still locks up solid and stuff, or at least appears to me without taking the forearm off. That I'm going to leave for tomorrow. So the question is, are these black powder guns only? And I don't think I'm going to give you 100% yes or no question. But I do know, we'll save it for tomorrow. And I've got a little history on black powder in those days, some of which I may have already mentioned. And we're going to talk about it. So whether it be tomorrow or the next few days, and we'll see. We'll see if I have the guts to shoot contemporary ammo, or maybe if you have an opinion on it, tell me before. Tell me as soon as this video goes up, okay? So I'll blow myself up, okay?